This is a PC GPU combo you can almost always find and throw together for super cheap. The HP Z240 Micro Tower and the GTX 1060. They're practically made for each other. Now, I've made some modifications to mine from the "can we make it look like a gaming PC" video, but you can ignore those. Especially now that I had to add some more glue to the custom window. It turned out really well. Look how well it turned out. I'll have to clean that up later. The Z240 is an office PC that frequently goes for around $120. And if you're patient, you can sometimes find them for $100 or even as low as $80. And that's usually with all or most of the components ready to go. The graphics card, the GTX 1060, frequently goes for $70 to $80. Usually you'll need to buy an M2 drive because you just don't see those in a lot of the listings. But even with that, it's about $120 for the computer, $80 for the GPU, and $20 for the drive. You're looking at a simple and pretty decent budget gaming PC at just a little over $200. Now, I'm actually going to downgrade mine a little bit to make it closer to the deals you would find on eBay, and then we'll check it out and see what it can do. So to get into it, I'm actually going to break it down on a beautiful and brand new marble top table. You think I would do that to you? It's gonna be chair desk. You know it's gonna be chair desk. When I originally bought this a while ago, it cost more than $100, but had a lot of RAM. I'm going to drop it down to 16 gigabytes. That way it's closer to what you would get if you bought one of these cheaper ones right now. The fans won't matter much, so I'm not going to bother with unplugging those or anything. As far as the CPU, I'm going to keep the i7-6700 in here because I've seen a lot of different listings with this processor that are still in the $100 to $120 range. And that's what we're exploring, something similar to if you were to buy these things used right now. I also removed the GPU and M2 drive before this video just so I can demonstrate how easy it is to throw these things together. Though I've had this intact and I've actually been using it for a while now. So I'm just dropping the GPU into the PCIe slot and plugging in the 6-pin power connector. Aside from the GPU, the other upgrade you'll probably need to make, as mentioned, is the M2 drive. The Z240 can boot from the M2 slot, but it's pretty uncommon to find them used with an M2 drive. Luckily, there's a lot of options for like 256 gigabyte M2 SSDs for about $20. Not a ton of storage, and we can only install a few games at a time, but the emphasis is on budget here. So everything together, you could very likely put this system together for $200 or even a little less. Really, $220 is likely on the higher end of the estimate if you're vigilant and keep an eye out for good used deals. One quick thing to note before we run some games and see what this can do. If you ever look into these by chance, make sure to look at pictures and check the power supply, because most of these have this 6-pin PCIe connector that we need for the GTX 1060, but when I've browsed through these online in the past, I've seen some that don't have this. It must come in different variations, and for whatever reason, some of them just don't have that connector, which you're probably going to want. Alright, let's boot this up and see what's what. And I've actually kind of put this together with a modified power button. Yeah! Now, I'm going to play some games from around 2020, keeping in mind that this is very much a budget machine. So I'm not expecting any miracles, but it should get us in the game. Alright, we're busting out the usual suspects. Namely, the games I was able to get for $10 during the Steam sales. Everything we're doing is 1080p. First off, Devil May Cry 5, a 2019 game. And this is hanging really well. I knew the performance would be decent, but this is a little better than I even expected. We're hanging really consistently at about 120 FPS, and the dips are very minor. We're losing maybe a couple frames per second here and there. I haven't seen it dip below 115, like not even one time. So pretty solid performance for this game. After that, we have Doom Eternal. This is a 2020 game, and I'd say a little more graphically impressive. But again, the performance is pretty decent and better than I actually expected. We're mostly hanging between 90 and 100 FPS, with only some occasional dips down to the high 80s. So all in all, pretty solid performance here, especially considering the serious budget nature of the machine. Alright, thank you as always for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will catch you later.